booties for black girl nerds. Thank you, gentlemen. It is good to see you all. This is my era. This is my people. And you all perform masterfully. And I thank you for all of that. Beginning with you, Saddiq, why is this period essential to his growth? We can see he's evolving into a different man and prioritizing differently. How does this period in time affect him?
I mean, I think it's exactly like you said. It's the priorities that are shifting. I think becoming a parent and being responsible for another life on this earth is it's a priority check. Certain things that could fly when you rolling solo dolo, and doing whatever you do, just don't fly when you have the responsibility of buying Pampers and milk and all types of baby food and new strollers and cribs. And is this the crib that, Shurri wants? And all of that stuff kind of comes into play and just adds this other, factor, this other tension that I think that, the other men that are a part of the group just aren't having to face at this moment. So I think, prioritizing and also I imagine, because I'm not a dad myself, but I imagine once you have a kid, your perspective of the world widens a bit. And so I think in that perspective widening, Ghost, Dennis, his perspective of what his life can be also expands as well.
Absolutely. Shameik, for you with Raekwon, it's the same kind of evolution, but it's different in that he's becoming more open. And that, he's very, very withdrawn from the rest because he's trying to do some internal knowledge of self, for lack of a better term. Is that fair to say about his this period of time for him?
You hit it right on the nail. You said that better than I've ever said it, to be 100%. I mean, that's exactly what it is. That's where he is in his frequency. I feel like my answer would just be echoing what you said, but he really is opening up very slowly. And I think the way he opens up, oddly enough, is because he's connecting with his nemesis. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think having to have the maturity to be in the same room and be cool with someone he knows very well wants to kill him. I think just getting past on both ends. I mean, but for me, definitely. I think that then allows me to start laughing as Raekwon. Yeah, come on, son. That side of Raekwon, we didn't see that before. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's it's honestly because like when you look to the left, like that this man is like. When you look to your left and your right, your front and your back, and that these men are not weaker than you. You know what I'm saying? They have like a code that they operate by as well. You know what I'm saying? And like if I say something that somebody doesn't like, they're not just letting me run over them the way like somebody like the way it would have been before. You know what I'm saying? Before it was just like, I get money with power, woo, woo. And if I talk to you, I don't like what you say, we might have some beef. You know what I'm saying? And where now I'm cool with the dude that got some beef with what I got to say. You know what I'm saying? So like if somebody else got beef with me or got beef with him, they in trouble. Because I can trust that this man got my back and this man got my back. And we come together as one. And actually we're not even trying to be on rah-rah. We're trying to get to this money. We're trying to get our families out of this ghetto. We're trying to get to another place, have something for our seeds in the future, or right now. You know what I'm saying? So it is about family. It's about unity, and it's about standing for something.
When I look at when I think about you, God, Damani, and where his placement in the group, he always had this kind of confidence. But there's so many personalities that I think it gets overlooked again. How he was just kind of that quiet, confident presence that is within the group. Is that a fair assessment of who he is? Because he seems very secure compared to some of the other personalities.
Yes, he's definitely he's definitely exactly everything you said. He's a talented individual, but that's not really his. Repeat the question you just said. Say exactly what you just said.
Well, he just has a confidence that he's confident, he's secure in his place, but the other personalities are so big that sometimes it can be a little bit overshadowed compared to the other members of the group. Is that a fair assessment of him, or if not, why not?
Yeah, I'll say that. Yeah. You pay a lot of attention to the interviews and stuff. You'll see, he's the quiet, laid back dude all the time, but he actually is a funny dude. Even when I was talking to him, I realized that, and I tend to show that throughout the season, a couple different sides, which I think is going to surprise a lot of fans. They didn't really. You see him as some serious dude all the time, but it's moments where he's having fun, with his brothers, and I think I did a pretty good job in showcasing that.
I think you did too. Lastly, gentlemen, how many Tim boots were harmed in the shooting of this series? I must know. As New Yorkers are legendary for their peanut butter Tims, how many pairs of Tims are in the trailers right now?
Had to be at least 5 million.
5 million. To be 100% honest, you know what I mean? I wore the same. It's New York. You know what I'm saying? We New Yorkers. I'm actually not from New York, but I found myself.
Like, Shameik, don't cap, bro.
I found myself.
Chill out.
For clarity. All right. Nobody can take New York out of my story, bro. All right. So, but I still rep Atlanta or whatever, but at the end of the day, especially when it comes to what your point, like with style, especially back then, you don't want your stuff to be scuffed up, whether you're wearing Uptowns or Timbs or whatever. But at the same time, you want you stepping in yours. You know what I'm saying? They're not supposed to be spotless and clean. You want your shit worn in, and you know what I'm saying? Right. You want to be, and that's you were being playful with your question. The honest truth is, I have one pair of Timbs on this show. To my knowledge.
That's a fact. And just to piggyback off that real quick, shout outs to Melissa Vargas, the costume designer, because she did a great job in, keeping
Melissa.
Like for real, like keeping, like Shameik said, like he had that one pair of Timbs, and it wasn't like a crispy pair every scene. And I think that that's really important because it feels like we have ownership over our clothes. Like I had a hoodie that I wore a couple times, and sometimes you'll be on a show where you always getting something with tags on it, ripping them off and then putting it on. And that's just not the show that we on here. So shout out to Melissa.
Shout out to her, and shout out to all of you. You did a wonderful job. Thank you for your time, gentlemen. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gentlemen, a pleasure. The Genius, the ODB, two of my favorite members of the Wu-Tang Clan. And TJ, I'll begin with you. In a group where, like it said in the series, every person in the group is a superstar. But the ODB just had that different it factor that just made him very unique from the other members in the group. Knowing what you know about him now, if you could put your finger on what that it was, what do you think it was with ODB?
I think the ODB was just like very, very himself, very raw, and he just had this certain energy. I don't think you could put a finger on the energy. It's just something that some people really got. Some people really don't have it. So I think it was just like his aura. ODB aura is what really made him like that it factor for the group.
Mm-hmm. And Johnell, for the what's always been intriguing about me with the Wu-Tang Clan is the whole way they determine their names and monikers and how they identified themselves in music and in life. When you look at the GZA's evolution of names, what did you learn about the naming process that you didn't know about them before?
The naming process that I didn't know that they had, like him and Bobby talked about it. I don't want to give no spoilers away, you know what I'm saying, for season 2, but this is something they made up in the studio with him being GZA and RZA creating his name. So I know he transformed from Allah Justice to GZA after season 1. So yeah, that's basically what I learned, really.
Mm-hmm. When I look at the Wu-Tang, they've had so many highs, lows in between during the course of their career, but this season really focuses on them truly coming together as a unit to take it to the next level. TJ, where do you think this ranks in their career as defining moments of of the Wu-Tang?
I feel like this is one of their most defining moments because this is when they became like a real unit. Like this is where they established themselves. They was like, you could say almost enemies before this. So I feel like this is one of the most defining moments and becoming like that indestructible army that's still going 20, 25 years later. I feel like this is one of like, this is up there. This is top 5, top 3.
Definitely.
Johnell, where do you think that, knowing what you know about the RZA, what is it about him that can tap into the energy source of all these men? What was that skill that he had that was able to lock in?
He was just able to get everybody on the same page, basically. You know, he was dealing with a lot of egos, but you could tell in the way that he was making his moves that he had a purpose and he had a vision. Like he would never come with anything like halfway done. If he wants you to get something done, he's gonna come full force. Like, yo, I gotta go get this. I gotta go get this one. And he would put the energy out there, as he would say, he would manifest it. So that's what I learned. And he's still the same way today in real life. I see how he moves, and it's just like, it's inspiring.
Watching all of you perform together was very great for me because I've interviewed the GZA before and he was amazing. And I've been very impressed with all of you all's various performances. Lastly, just a little fun question. How many pairs of Tim boots are in the trailer right now? How many Tim boots are during the making of this series?
Oh, how many Tim boots did we have to wear?
Yes. Did you make it through the one pair? Could you keep one pair?
I think I did. I think I made it through. I think I made it through the one pair.
I had
just
2
wore
pairs.
A lot of sneakers.
I had 2 pairs of Timbos, man. My trailer. I had the butters and the black butters, yeah.
Well, I thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Thank you so much. Hello, ladies. Thank you. I'm Giandra from Black Girl Nerds. It is a pleasure to speak with both of you because the women behind these musicians are very big influences in their families' lives. Beginning with you, Erika, there's just a bond between Linda and Bobby that kind of transcends their parental relationship. How do you think she informed his music and what he will ultimately find as his path?
Thank you so much, Yandra, for having us. Thank you for this conversation. I love Black Girl Nerds. So more power to you. And are you related to Sandra LaBeouf? I just have to say yes or no.
Yeah, it's my cousin, my first cousin.
Okay, so we have that connection too. It's a pleasure. She allowed the young man, Bobby, to be an artist. That was unheard of, especially back in the day. They were being told that they were thugs, that they were niggers, that they were all these things, everything but artists. And she saw that her child was vulnerable and sensitive and that he was in a very difficult world and a very difficult position. And she supported him through that and loved him through that, but also created a hard space where he had to either come up or come out of it or get pulled back in forever. So I think that, like a lot of women, she was in that position, but I also say that this story is not told from the female point of view, and they had a lot more to say. But from this point of view, you can tell that RZA loved his mother very much and honored her completely. And she had 11 children. There's only 4 here, and she had a very special bond with him. And you can tell the way he treats me on set. He always comes up to me very reverential, and I know that's because he's honoring me with the love he gave his mother.
It is beautiful. The two of you had a beautiful chemistry. I've interviewed the RZA before, and I was telling your younger co-star how much I admired his performance and his embodiment of it, as you ladies as well. For you, Zolee, I love how responsibility will change the trajectory of a companion's life. And in her case, she's able to show him the benefits of being responsible, but still kind of treading that line with support as well as laying down the law in a way that he could receive it. Is that a fair assessment of what she meant?
Definitely, because I think with having such a strong mom, Linda, I got to watch her dynamic with relationships. And so when I see Dennis doing things that isn't acceptable for me, acceptable for the family, and just you bringing riffraff and not safe things to our household, I have to withhold those standards because my mom taught me those things. And I've seen such a strong woman my whole life. So of course, like, you know, she doesn't let things slide and she has to be real and honest with him. And I think it's for his benefit as well, like you said. So I think that's a perfect assessment. You know, she loves him, but she's not gonna let everything slide.
Right, for sure. Erika, I'm always impressed just by your range. From comedy to sci-fi to now we're doing this is kind of gritty and urban. Like, what is this? Where are you most comfortable? Where does this lie in the comfort scale for you?
Deandra, I started off as a drama girl. I was discovered at Freedom Theater in a dramatic role. I did 5 or 6 plays at the Public Theater, traveled with the Royal Shakespeare Theater, and then Miss Cosby saw me on stage and Bill Cosby created the role of Cousin Pam. And the next thing you know, I got into Living Single and then I was in comedy. Here's I have to say, I was raised by the most phenomenal Black women in film, television, and theater. People like Gloria Foster, CCH Pounder, Cecily Tyson, and all these people who, as far as I'm concerned, had to have range. You didn't get to choose where you get to be, you got to go where you were invited. And I was invited into these spaces and either sink or swim. So it's a pleasure. Thank you for saying that about me. But I tried to learn really very quickly on my feet what to do. And luckily I had the best teachers.
That's amazing, amazing. And Zolee, lastly for you, every role changes an artist when they embody different characters. How has this transformed you or changed you as an artist, as an actor?
I think with Shurri becoming a mother, it's changed what that is going to look like for me possibly one day, if I'm blessed enough and in, you know, other circumstances. But just like the weight of what that's like to have somebody else to bring a child into this world. I mean, I'd say they both went to hell and back just to make sure that they were safe and to prepare for this baby coming and even when the baby is there. So I think as a woman, you kind of always hear about it and expect like, oh, you know, I can have a child one day. But embodying that for a character and that's who you are, it's like, this is a lot more, of course, serious than you realize, because I feel like we just talk about it so much and it's so common that, you know, you kind of forget how, no, it's a life-changing experience. So I just appreciate it that much more. And I see a lot of my friends are now having children and, you know, even though I haven't had one yet, I resonate with them. And yeah, I try to be there for them as much as I can.
So you ladies are wonderful. Thank you for your time, your performances. I can't wait for the season to hit. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. And
thank you,
Black Nerd Girls always supports. Appreciate you.
Oh, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, hello, hello. It is a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah,
I was what I was most taken with your performance. I've interviewed the RZA before, and he has this calm and this zenness. It's very infectious when you talk to him, and it's like you have to almost lean in because he's so calm. And that struck me about your performance during this season.
Wow.
And so what I want to know is, where do you think that sense of calm comes from with him? Is it self-awareness, higher awareness? Is it sense of purpose? Where do you think the origin is of that for him?
That's interesting because I think that you hit all the nails on the head. I think it's definitely all of that. I think Riz is definitely a person who is aware of himself and the cipher that he puts himself around. I think that he's somebody who is spiritually inclined, you know? And so, yeah, I think when you have all of that, like abundant energy, you know, within yourself, within your cipher, within your spirit, I think that it transcends, you know, like you can only emote that, you know. I think everything RZA is a makeup of, you know, like his past, but also all of his like spiritual awakening journey, you know, which is like, for me, I've witnessed is always like evolving, you know, like everlasting. And so yeah, I think all of his essence comes from all of his like spiritual work and him being tapped in, you know. Like I can say that for anybody though. I feel like people who are at peace and who are balanced like do the work to get there, you know, from within. Um, yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful kind of energy. As you go deeper and deeper into embodying him as these seasons go on and we learn more of the Wu story, have there been some practices or things as a performer and an artist that you're like yourself that you want to adopt in your life? You see how they worked for him, you think, you know what, maybe that might be a habit I want to introduce into my life to help me along my journey.
Like in terms of
Just anything from diet to meditation to
oh
any
yeah, I
of those
mean,
things that you've learned about him.
yeah, for sure. I think initially since season one, I mean, Riz is always dropping gems. He's always dropping gems. He's definitely like the OG. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like if you need somebody to talk to, I've needed somebody to talk to sometimes. And, you know, like Riz is there to you know like give me some perspective. You know, and yes, I can say this is vague without me getting too like particular and personal, but I can say I have been able to carry over certain things from just from learning, you know, from this man and spending time with him into my personal life and put it on myself, you know. Definitely, definitely.
So I must ask this, as a New York-based show, I asked your castmates in the earlier group, how many Tim Boots were harmed in the making of this series? How
Oh
many Tim
man,
Boots are in your dressing room right now?
right now, man, they probably four or five right now, man. They have me in them Tims, man. Look, I'm a LA boy, all right. So I'm not used to wearing them Tims. Them Tims are heavy, all right. Them Tims are bricks, okay. But no, that's interesting how like costume can add another level to the character. You know what I'm saying? Like even like within like the walk, you know, like the walk is, you know, it's a walk that I've developed for RZA, but it's also a walk that is just what it is because of these heavy ass shoes that I'm wearing every day for 12 hours. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, man, but I don't think any Tims were harmed. You know, New York loves Tims, and I'm sure the costume department made sure to keep them Tims fly as hell, boy.
Always
So,
clean.
always clean, always clean.
I'm an LA person. Tell me Inglewood person, so I feel you.
Okay, look, see, you know, girl, you know, don't front.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you and your performance. Thanks for chatting with me.
Thank you, man.
Take care. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. This is my era, so I'm always ready to consume any and all things Wu-Tang, and season 2 is a real pivotal time for the group as they are forming like Voltron at this point, at this stage in their career. So for beginning with you, Julian, how would you describe Divine during this chapter of the legacy? Everyone's coming into their own and knowing their places. So how would you best assess him during this season?
Well, I think the story, the arc of Divine is how does he transform from where he was in the beginning of season 1, which is kind of like this, you know, man in the streets, and how does he become kind of this businessman? And what I find is that Divine really kind of figures out what his superpower is, which is he understands business. He understands how to bring people together. He understands how to support his brother. He understands how to be a first mate and a first captain. And so what we're really seeing from Divine is Divine really kind of comes in his own like that. And he figures out a way to kind of stand on his own 2 feet, and how he is going to pursue his ultimate goal, which is to be able to put his feet up on the desk of that office table that you saw him in season 1. That's ultimately what he wants at the end of the day. It's how do I sit back? How do I put my feet at the desk of the table? How do I wear my suit? And how do I look out at my office over New York City skyline? So that's his trajectory.
For you, Uyoata, this is a time where the gentlemen are all really fully accepting their names, and that's always been a pivotal part of the Wu identity is the name selection. And during the course of learning how these names came to be, what surprised you most about the way they decided on how to name themselves, particularly with Deck?
Well, I was fortunate enough to have a conversation with Deck over the phone, and it was incredible. It was an extensive conversation that spoke to the specificities of the names that come about, because there's 1,700 stories, and then within those 1,700 stories is like 1,700 million other stories. So when I spoke to him on the phone, one thing that stood out to me was a conversation between he and I when he spoke to me about the difference between Deck and Rebel, and Inspectah, excuse me. So Inspectah obviously comes from the Pink Panther as the inspector. He takes on that role. And it also comes from a UGOT, which is what he said. He said UGOT really just spoke to me and called me the inspector every time I walked in. The inspector's here, the inspector's inspecting. And flipping that over to Rebel, he said the difference in character is Rebel sort of his attitude. So Rebel is his, you talk to me crazy, I'm gonna talk to you crazy. You pop off at me, I'm gonna pop off at you. And while Inspectah is more the observer, the heightened aware, the conscious mind that speaks through him, the inspection that he does on a daily basis whenever he walks into any room.
For Marcus, the Wu-Tang has many points in their career, many peaks, many valleys, highs, lows. During this season 2, as they fully form, where do you rank this in career highlights for them? Or where is this in the list of biggest accomplishments for the group, in your opinion?
Oh, this is just the beginning. I feel like this season is this is the time where that juice is starting to form between the group. They're learning each other. They're learning to love each other, which is coming through in the music, right? So this is the time where, and you're gonna see it in season 2. It's like this is that moment where we really, as you said, form like Voltron. It's like when we all figure out what our superpowers are, and then we decide to bring that together. So this is just the beginning. I think this is right when that spark happens.
I must know, from a curiosity standpoint, how many pairs of Tim boots did you all have during the course of filming the season?
I mean, okay, if we're gonna get real, Power had money before they did. Before the rap shit, he already had money. So you're gonna see a lot of Jordans. You're just gonna see a lot of fly shit on Power. I wear Tim sometimes I rock the Jordans. Sometimes I'm rocking some real suave shit. You know what I'm saying?
And unlike Power, Divine lost all his shit. So I'm wearing one pair of shoes, but I do get a suit. So I get a nice pair of dress shoes on top of that.
And I definitely say that for Deck, it's about, I'm coming through a struggle. So give me a second and I'm going to get there. You know what I mean? I'm going to level up Power. But yeah, it's definitely a struggle in the beginning, but you see your boy rise throughout the season. So.
Yeah, that's right. It's very different. It's very different in the scale of folks this season. Well, I thank you, gentlemen. I have enjoyed these episodes. I can't wait to get to the very end. Well done. Thank you so much.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.